Righty-ho, so I'm going to use the little circle magnet. It's got an indentation on one side and that side is not magnetized. So if I use this and check it, I can see that that is holding, all right? If I do that side, oh, that one told me a lie, it's not really holding as well. So anyway, the flat side, that just showed it, yeah. The flat side is the side that sticks down. So when you are going to put this on the fridge, you're going to have the gorgeous photo facing out, the picture of the bird. So you want to have your magnet towards the back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slip this up, right up into that corner, and try not to get it up the wrong way. There we go. Slip it right up into that corner, and I'm going to put a pin right across that corner so I know, that's not very straight, is it? So I know that my magnet won't move. There you go. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. Now I can decide, I think I won't use that dark colour actually on the top. I think I'll use a lighter colour because that won't look very nice when I top stitch it. So I'm going to cut my thread from here and I'm going to pull it down through my needle, and I'm going to take my foot off and I'm going to use my zip foot number 4. Now the reason why I'm going to use zip foot number 4 is because I want to get nice and close. Oh, I didn't even do it. My zip foot number 4 because I want to get nice and close to my magnet. So I'm going to use zip foot number 4. So I'm going to find some cream thread. Nope. And one of my drawers of thread, must be this one. Must have some cream. My drawers are extremely messy at the moment. I must tidy them up. Oh yeah, this will do. Some white thread. Right, so take this out. My grandchildren, when they come, they like to take all my threads out and look at the pretty colours, and then it's time for them to go home. I forget to tell them to clean up, so I'm going to have a new rule that once they've finished we pack them up, but they spend hours looking at the threads. They love them, so I can't really complain. So I've put the zip foot on and I want to stitch across. Oh, I've got to have my tear away. I want to stitch across here, so I'm going to make sure my needle position's to the right so I don't break a needle. So if you want to have a look in the mirror there, I've got my number 4 foot on and it's showing me that I'm going to break a needle because my needle position's in the center and it's showing red. So I'm just going to move my needle position here. 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right until that goes white. Can you see that? So if I go back, it's going to go, you're going to break a needle, it's going to hit your foot. So I keep going until I know I'm not going to hit my foot. Okay, so I've got a bit of tear away behind there. Actually, I need some more tear away, don't I, for this? Pop your tear away under there. So I'm just going to stitch onto my tear away, and then I'm going to stitch onto my project. So just go down. Once you get on it, I'm just going to back stitch a couple of stitches. I'm going to go straight across that corner to anchor my magnet. And then I think, why don't I just simply turn, actually yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm just going to turn this and just stitch all the way around. Might as well. So I'm just going to leave it with my needle position to the right, and I'm just going to put my fingers down there to hold it, and I'm just going to stitch all the way down to the corner. Turn it, and I can turn it, I don't have to do a stitch across the corner. I'm going to get rid of that, tear that away. That can stay there because I need a little bit more. Look at that. Nothing like piecing it. Just a bit of tear away here and a bit of tear away there. That's some good stuff. So I'm going to flatten this one and just top stitch down here. Is that going to reach all the way? I think it will. and I need under here. So I'm going to turn, this has been pressed, so I just put that under there, put that into there. Make sure that's all tidy. That looks okay. I probably would spend a little bit more time normally on that, but it's to open jars. It's okay. And then just, this is your opening. Just go nice and slow. Top stitch your opening. If you find you need a bit more tear away, this is what you do. This is what I do. Tear it away. Oh, I need another little bit on there. Plonk it under there, and you've got all your tear away you need. Okay. There we go. And turn. What a terrible corner. To any of my family that get this, I apologise. It's not my best work. And then reverse. Alright, you don't really need to top stitch right round that corner because you've already anchored it down, so you don't really have to worry about it. Too easy. Tear away. Isn't it a great, great, great product? It's just fun anyway. Like whether you, I don't know, I just use it all the time. It's just my go-to because you don't have to worry about any dramas with your fabrics and your stitching and anything because it's just tears away. There we go, nice and easy. Now, make sure your threads are all cut. There's a thread right there, I can see, there it is. So, that's finished, but I feel that I want to stitch just around that to anchor it. So I'll just fire some of this back under. And I might just put my ordinary foot back on. Oh, edge stitch foot number 10, why not? The proper foot even. Number 10 edge stitch foot. So I'm just going to tell my machine I've got an edge stitched foot on, I've got a dual feed. I'm going to clear my needle position so it goes back to the center. I'm going to make my needle position, my needle length a little bit longer so I'm top stitching. And I'm just going to stitch in the ditch right through my two pieces of fabric that I've joined. Good idea. So I'm just going to go forward. Oh, I could have just locked that off actually, never mind. It's white thread, but it's just to show you. I'm just stitching in the ditch. And I'm using my foot to guide down through my seam. Nice and slowly. And turn, oops, throw a bit of tear away. Oh no, there's still tear away under there. I just need a bit on this side. It's great stuff, eh? You just throw it where you want it to go. And this will just keep that anchored so it won't kind of separate when it washes. It won't go a bit loose. But if you want to do what I did on the other one and quilt it, oh, one stitch too far then I feel. That's better. Yeah, just make sure that's flat. Yeah, that looks nice. I'm glad I've done that. Even though it's got the white thread, it just kind of gets lost in that seam and it just finishes that off. Saying that, I started talking then and didn't watch what I was doing and I went on to the red bit, but that's okay. I feel this one will probably go to a family member in Australia anyway. Because you've got to have Kiwiana in your house. Oh, I just went one stitch, didn't push the button hard enough. All good. So, clip, clip. And again, once again, pull off your tear away. So I keep little bits like this to put under my buttonholes. So when I'm doing buttonholes, because I do them for a lot of people around Tauranga, I put a bit of tear away behind the fabric to do the buttonhole, and it gives you a really good finish. There's your tear away, all gone. And I still know people that don't ever use tear away or have never used tear away. It's just too good a product not to use. I would not normally waste that much tear away. It's a little bit extreme, but I'm just showing you. And there's your finished product. All done. So this is the new Kiwiana fabric. That looks kind of cute. This is the Kiwiana with a little bit of check. And this is the Kiwiana scraps that I used to do on the outside of that one. And this is for my sister because she's right. She lives on a little bit of land and she's got chickens. And this is, I'm not sure why I made a poo gecko one because who would want it? Because poo geckos are a little bit annoying. But somebody told me that their brother-in-law's nickname's Poo Gecko, so maybe I'll give it to him. So there you go. So your little magnets are 50 cents each. And we've got the tape by the metre, and I think it's $6 a metre or something like that. And you can just buy little squares of it. So that's that all done and dusted. Oh, I have to show you this because it's sitting right here. My sister Diane has made me a lovely Liberty pin cushion. And my grandchildren put my pins in colours because they can't help themselves. But yeah, it's quite nice. So it's a little Liberty pin cushion. It's nice and fat. It just hangs around, so they play with that as well. Right, now the next thing I want to show you is we have got a cushion here which is made from beautiful linen, 100% cotton linen. Now when you buy cushion inners, this is a perfect example that you don't use the cushion inners that you buy, because look how fat it is. That's not going to be comfortable. So when you buy cushion inners, this is what I do because it's just so silly. I buy 2 cushion inners, I open them up, I take some of the stuffing out and I make another inner and I end up with 3 cushions. Because this is just too fat. That's not going to be comfortable. So I just open up one side, take some of the stuffing out and re-stitch it. So when you buy them, they put too much stuffing in them and it's not comfortable. So yeah, so I always take some of the stuffing out, the Dacron fill, or you can make your own inner because look, you just overlock around the edges and stuff it with Dacron stuffing and overlock it up. But you can buy them as well. This is a purchase one to show you. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about. So we're talking about sewing on laces and ribbons with a twin needle, single needle, twin needling and pin tucking. Okay, so this has all been done with linen. It's got 100% cotton braids, and unfortunately we didn't have any cotton ribbons, so it's got a little ribbon on here. My sister Diane has made this one. And she's piped it as well. With the backing, instead of a zip or button and buttonholes, she just made an envelope and done a fancy stitch on it. Okay, so you've got instructions how to make this, but you can make it your own by using your own fabrics. So I have got some linens here because we sell loads and loads of linen, and I was encouraging the ladies because a lot of people make garments out of linen, but it's beautiful on home furnishings. So here's an idea that you could do for linen. So same cushion, and you put, I've cut them exactly the same squares as your pattern, but instead of doing all my laces, I can just line these up, sew these two together, and I've got a nautical fun cushion. So simple. Now when you're going to be doing any sort of fabrics like this, you're going to need to do a few things. You either need to interface the fabric, or if you don't want to interface the fabric, you're going to need to spray starch the fabric, or best press, which is spray starch, which is starch but not a spray, or use anything that will stiffen the fabric, okay? But what I like to do is, good old tear away, but we take that off first. What I like to do when I'm using a linen, I like to treat it like it's a garment, the same as if I'm doing a garment. And I iron on the fusible interfacing. Now, during COVID, we were told that the Stay Flex we couldn't get from Spain, and we thought we were never going to get it again, and it arrived back in our store. So this is the Stay Flex interfacing that we get from Spain, and it's absolutely fantastic. And we're very excited because it arrived back in store again. So I have interfaced every single piece of my cushion, okay? Now that's one cushion idea. And then I decided on the next cushion that I'm actually doing for my sample here is I got the white linen, and I have got plain white linen, and I have interfaced it exactly the same. And instead of doing lots of twin needling and pin tucking, I've chosen my braid, which is this one here. I've chosen my ribbon, which is, I'll find it. I think I fired it over there. And I'm using a twin needle, but I'm making braids out of my stitches. So this is a basic stitch, but I made it look like a braid. So I'm going to do a similar idea, but I'm going to have some of my ribbons this way, some that way, and like this. But instead of doing all of the pin tucking, which I will do some, I'm going to make, do twin needle fancy stitches, which I think look great. So the first thing you're going to do when you're going to do something like this is you get a sample piece and you make it exactly the same as if you're going to sew straight onto your cushion. So you do all your samples on this. So I thought what I could do is I could put my twin needle on and try some of the stitches, but only put them through the cream part. And that could look quite fun. And don't make it too busy with no lace on that one. When I'm doing my fancy stitches for my sample, on this one I've done exactly the same thing. I've interfaced it, but every piece has tear away on it so that my stitching is perfect. So you can see here I'm messing around playing with my fancy stitches to see what I like the look of. And I always love the serpentine stitch, but this was the stitch I decided I liked the best. So it's quite fun. So when you're going to be putting on your braids, you need a couple of products. So one of the ones you need, oh there's my ribbon, one of the ones you need is a glue stick, because you want to glue stick your braids on so they're not going to move, okay? So the first thing you should do is decide if you want your braid down the centre. I decided I wanted it off centre. So I'm going to just do this one, and this one might go down the centre, I don't know, it'll go where I decide to put it. I'm going to do this one, and I'm just lining this up, and I'm going to get a pen, and I'm going to rule a line down like that. So this is water erasable, it's going to disappear when I put water on it. So there's my line where I want it. Doesn't necessarily have to be the centre, you have it where you want it. Then I'm decided, yes, I'm going to put the braid on all of them. So I'm just going to cut that to length. And I'm not going to iron any of this, or else my mark will not come out. Okay, so I'm just going to do that. Now here's the trick. You have to find which side of the braid's the right side. So just look at the braid and make sure you've got them exactly the same, because that would be disastrous. Then get your glue stick and either run your glue stick down your braid, oops, and this is a blue one, down your braid, or on your bit of fabric. I'm going to run it down the braid. Okay, and I'm putting it on the wrong side so I don't get it wrong, because that could happen also. So now I just turn this over and I line it up with my line I've done there, and I bring this over, and now I'm lining up the holes in my braid because they are, I want them even, so I'm matching up my little holes. There we go. And just pat it down. And then here's my little ribbon I decided to put through the middle. It's a beautiful little Japanese ribbon. It's from a company called Makuba. It's a lovely, lovely ribbon. Now the reason I've chosen it is because it's got that linen-y look to it. It's kind of got a little design on it, so I chose that because I thought it looked similar. And I'm putting that through the middle. That's my joiner. So I'm just going to run a little bit of this, and the right and wrong side is identical, so I don't have to worry about that. Just put this through. Oh, it's running out. Put this through the middle. Try not to get it all over yourself and on the table. Okay, and then rub that off and then iron that on. So you've got it all prepared and you don't have to think about it. Okay, now the reason why I want to have that all nice is because instead of top stitching 2 rows of straight stitching on there, I am going to twin needle it so I get it all done in one action. Now I'm just going to see if I've stitched this one down. No, I haven't. So this is just glued on, this one. So I'm just going to, before I take my normal needle out, I'm just going to straight stitch down there and straight stitch down there to hold the lace through washing. So I'm going to put on, no, I'm going to, yeah, I'll leave the edge stitch foot on actually, but I'll put the right colour threads on. So I'm going to put a white bobbin in, and I'm going to put a grey thread on top. Okay, so I'm going to put a white bobbin in, white bobbin in, and I'm going to put grey thread on top. And I must talk to you about my dress I've made. So this is 100% cotton fabric, obviously, 100% cotton fabric because it's nice and cool. And I actually liked the pattern, but I didn't like the neckline. So what I've done is I've taken off a neckline off another garment and popped it on the top of this one. And I decided that this summer it was just too hot to have a skirt and a top and much cooler to wear a dress. So it's 100% cotton patchwork fabric. I'll just take that thread out. 100% cotton patchwork fabric, and I've used a couple of patterns. And when you get to come to Banana Club, I will show you on my board how I did that. Okay. So what I've got here is I've got grey thread on the top, I've got white thread on the bobbin, I've got my single needle in, I've got my edge stitch foot, and I'm going to show you when we come back how to sew your lace down onto your fabric. So I'll see you in a minute.